The one line I always liked was, I'm going to do today what other people aren't willing to, so I can do tomorrow what other people can't. I always loved that line of like whenever I'm training by myself, you know, kind of always like running lines like that through my head when I'm suffering. Like people aren't willing to do this right now. You're the only one in here. And then when I get to a competition and I'm able to outperform someone on something, I'm like, okay, I did yesterday what you didn't, so that I can do today what you can't. Just knowing that, trusting that the hard work I'm putting in right now, it'll pay off. Maybe not today, it might feel like shit tomorrow, but it'll pay off in the end. What are you doing when no one's looking? My dad was a pairs figure skater. My mom was a singles figure skater. My dad, from what I've been told, had just split up with his partner, was kind of taking time off from pairs figure skating and was looking for a new partner. Saw my mom in the skating rink, went up and was like, hey, my name's Don. I think you should try pairs figure skating with me. She was not allowed to at first, and when they finally got permission from her parents, they started skating together and started dating and went from there. They were a pairs figure skating team in the '76 Olympics, Innsbruck, Austria. On the competitor side, I think I got the best traits from each of them. My mom was all about the training, the working hard, preparation, all that stuff. And my dad was just a pure performer. Loved getting in front of an audience, and that got him going. And I didn't realize until later on, but like I made a joke one time, like we were trying to get my dad to start exercising a bit, and I said something to my mom, like, you know, I think once he gets back in the routine, you know, it'll just be like back like when he was skating, you know, once he got it part of his regular day, you know, he would enjoy training again. And my mom was just laughed. She was like, are you kidding me? Your father hated training. Like she was like, it was like pulling teeth to get him to the rink early in the morning. She was like if there wasn't an audience, he had no reason to do it. But then my mom, on the other hand, was just like put in that work, like when the work gets done when no one else is watching type thing. So luckily, I got the good traits from both of them. So yeah, I know the importance of, you know, when you're on the competition floor, it's just a reflection of what you've been doing all year long. You know, that work that gets put in, it's when no one's looking. You know, I'm down here by myself doing rowing intervals. I'm down here by myself squatting. There's no one here to cheer me along, pat me on the back. But then at the same time, when I get to regionals of the games and there's people watching, I'm like, I want to perform. Like when there's a crowd cheering, like you want to show off. That's everything. So I'll probably save the lifting stuff, like the dedicated, like power snatch, pull, back squat until later. I'll just go through some of the metcons, kind of get warmed up, get going. So yeah, I mean, I'll start out with that just because it's paced cardio, so you're kind of told what to do, so there's no real thought into it, so it's easy paces. Just get the lungs warmed up. And then I'll go into the metcon, like actually having to push it and kind of grit through it. And then after that, I mean, everything else, it's numbers. There's no like trying to work through it. It's like, nope, these numbers hit. Kind of just check it off the list, more or less. Yeah, I mean, today's lighter day. I feel beat up.
Yeah.
Like, from being on the road for so long, sleep got really screwed up the last couple days on the road. And then yesterday my training is affecting me today. And I knew it would. It's just the way it goes. But so I'm feeling super slow today. So
Kind of grind it out on those days?
Yeah, I mean, like the workouts I did, it's like, all right, I know I'm not going to be performing at my max potential, but you know, instead of like my goal being like the fastest time I'm capable of, like when I'm fresh, just pick something. So like the one workout, it's like, if I were fresh, I probably could have shaved off like the minute, 45 seconds, something like that. But instead, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to do that. Just go unbroken. You know, don't let go of the bar. That was my goal. So slow down the cycle time. Try to stay consistent on the row. Just pick out a different goal for the day, something that I can work on, something to focus on. Like I look at my medal from 2015, and I hate that fucking medal. It's because I didn't do it right, you know? It's like second place. I got second place in 2015. I should be proud of that result. I was the second fittest man in the world. But I just look at that and I'm just like, I fucking hate that year. Because I'm not proud of the effort I put in. I'm not proud of the corners I cut, you know? I really, like, 2014, I had the same results. 2014, 2015, I had the exact same results, completely different feeling about both seasons. 2014, I was so excited, I felt like I had won second place. 2015, exact same results, I felt like I had lost and gotten second place. Oh, it's just about the effort you put in, the expectations you set for yourself. And so 2016, you know, quit cutting corners, started doing it right, and the results showed for it. And so as long as I'm training, I'm going to keep trying to do it that way, and we'll see what the results reflect. Before the games, you know, it was still training because, you know, that's where my friends were. That's what they were doing type thing. Never taking it seriously, not putting in any long hours, you know. It was like hour or two in and out of the gym. That summer of the 2014 games, I was working full time. I had an engineering internship at an aerospace company, so you know that consumed a ton of time. And I think before that, like I had never met any other games athletes in terms of like actually been with them outside of competition. So like I always just assumed they were in another league, you know? I didn't know what they were doing for training. I didn't know what they were home lives were like. I didn't know anything about them. So I just assumed they were these untouchable athletes. And then at the games, there's a couple different scenarios, you know, I kind of sit down, like athlete briefing, and I sat down next to one of the really good guys, and I remember kind of like, huh, you're my size. Like, and like we're in little chairs, and you kind of look at my quad next to theirs, and I'm like, oh, like our legs are the same size. Like, you're not like this superhero everyone has on a pedestal. Okay, like maybe I can compare with you. And I mean, rookie year of the games, I mean, you don't know what you're about to get hit with. But I mean, held up fairly well, made some really dumb mistakes, had some really good moments, and came out in the wash in second place. I was like, okay, I think I can do this. 2015 was just like being dumbass. Ended up getting second again. But then by the 2016 season, you know, I kind of figured my stuff out, kind of figured out what I needed to do, what I needed to change for that upcoming season. You know, really dedicated myself. I wasn't in school anymore, so really dedicated everything. You know, day revolved around my training. It wasn't just my time in the gym is when I put in the work. You know, I started putting in the work outside of the gym as well. And that, I think that was a big game changer. And that was when I realized, like, okay, I can do this. Wake up, same time every day. On day, off day, doesn't matter how much I have to do that day. Same time every morning. Yeah, so coffee, breakfast. Search to find. Depending on what exercises I'm doing that day, I'll either start my training at home. I have pretty much a full affiliate worth of equipment, but in a tiny space, so I can't do like Metcons at home. I can only do like single modality stuff, like just rowing or just squatting or, you know, just stationary stuff.
There's certain stuff I'll never do down here because it's like I can't get to the point of like just suffering. But then there's other stuff that it's there's no opinion. I really don't like workouts where there's opinion in it of like, oh, I think I did that correctly, or yes, no, kind of. I like things that's like there's definitive numbers. Like, hold this number for this duration of time. Check. Like, it's either you did it or you didn't. There's no fucking opinion left in it.
Usually do that for probably 2 hours altogether. Finish that up. Immediately eat, stretch. Then I'll go into Champlain Valley CrossFit. I'll do all the stuff that I can't do at home, you know, like the Metcons where you're running around to different stations type thing, anything overhead lifting, any pull-up type stuff.
That was the pace. I probably could have done 2 more rounds at that same pace. So, probably should have pushed a little more.
Finish that up, stretch, eat, and then usually when I get home, I'll do another like hour or 2 of like just kind of the accessory work, you know, stuff that isn't hard. I'm not going to be breathing heavy. It's kind of stuff, you know, you can do it with a buddy and kind of carry on a conversation the whole time. Just all that little nagging stuff that just piles up. Finish that, stretch, eat, bed. So I'm in the corner, like, I didn't realize at the time, like, the top lifters in CrossFit are snatching like 285, maybe 300, and I'm just repping out 275, like, not too much effort. And so some of the people are like, what are you doing? Like, dude, why aren't you like competing type thing? I'm like, well, like you haven't seen my cardio. Showed up to 2014 regionals and won it. And so I think that's when people like kind of first noticed me. They're like, oh, like this is your rookie season at regionals and you did so well. I was like, nope, actually I was here last year and like did very well in events that required heavy barbells and then tanked everything else. And I remember leaving that and looking at the guys that beat me and thinking, I think if I worked hard, like I think if I practiced, I could beat them. Like I don't think they're naturally physically more capable than me. And so there was one workout that was a 1,000-meter row, 50 thrusters, 30 pull-ups. That was the whole workout. And some of the guys were getting on the rower and pulling like a 140 pace for the whole 1,000. I was just like, I've never seen those numbers on the screen. I think I pulled my 1,000 meters at like a 152. Just dead slow, but then I was fast enough on the thrusters to make up time. And so I was like, all right, like I suck at rowing. So I got a rower and I rowed between 4,000 and 5,000 meters a day for a whole year. And just, I was like, all right, I suck at rowing. Time to fix that. So I rowed, and now I still don't enjoy rowing so much, but I'm comfortable on it. Like I'm comfortable enough on it to push the pace when I need to. Biggest apple in the world.
What's the goal of this meal?
Not pass out during training. Last time I ate was 3 hours ago. And I won't eat again till dinner probably. So I just want something not to get me through training, but not make me full. Because I'm about to run on the treadmill a lot. Going to sprint practice 2 or 3 times a week. Probably 6 months, but that was the only reason it was like that was because that's when Essex High School had sprint practice. If they had it 5 days a week, I would have been there 5 days a week. I got a lot of weird looks like the first couple days from the kids because like first day of sprint practice,
show up, and I think they just kind of all assumed like I was like a new assistant coach or something. And then they're like, all right, everyone make 4 lines, we're going to start the warm-up. And I got in the back of one of the lines, and they were like, what are you doing, old guy? We're 14. What are you doing here? Sprinting with the high school team was incredibly humbling. It was like, you had the games for a couple years in a row, and it's like, okay, I'm physically capable, you know, like I'm one of the top in the world in the CrossFit scene. And then I'm showing up to sprint practice, a bunch of 9th and 10th graders, and just getting thrashed. I consciously every day seek out what am I bad at and how can I just pound this weakness until it's a strength.
In the time from when I retired from weightlifting, I was like 200 pounds. I lost 25 pounds and got fat at the same time. Like, I don't know how that sway happened, but I remember coming back from that job in Alberta and just having like a big gut and like just flabby. And I was like, what the hell happened? I used to be in shape. And, you know, just really not a happy camper, you know, just missing something, you know. Moved back to Vermont. I don't know anyone. I'm older than all the kids in my class, you know. I hear what they're doing outside the classroom. I'm like, I want nothing to do with you type thing. Like, they're just typical college kids, you know, away from home for the first time, partying, and it's like, I had no interest in that. No friends, no girlfriend. Didn't want to meet anyone that I was around. And it's like, and the fact that I'm like 5 or 6 years behind track of everyone else. You know, everyone in the class is 18, 19 years old. I'm sitting there at 24 years old. Man, I just wasted 4 years. So, I was like, all right, I'll start being a little more physically active, you know. I'll get back into weightlifting just for the exercise. I'm not gonna compete, I'm not gonna train or get on a cycle for a competition, like just regular, go in, you know, maybe feel good about myself. So I just looked up CrossFit in Vermont because they all have bars and bumpers. So I just walked into the gym. Owner came out. Hey, how can I help you? I was like, hey, Matt, I'm a weightlifter. Can I weightlift? Basically like, hey man, I don't want to do your CrossFit thing. So yeah, I would just go in there a couple times a week and sit off in the corner out of the way of the class, and I would do my snatches, clean jerks, squats, watching everyone else run around with the loud music playing, and like, yeah, that was my introduction to CrossFit, of like this chaos going on with the loud music. And like weightlifting, it's like you're in a quiet room. Your coach is watching you every rep. Like, you don't lift unless he's watching you. One person lifts at a time. If someone's going for a heavy lift, everyone just freezes, you know? Like, no one walks in front of them, no one makes a noise, nothing. And then this introduction into CrossFit, watching me do Fran, and it's like, whoa, this is chaos. But they all had smiles on their face, and I'm sitting over in the corner alone, like Debbie Downer. And I was like, all right, maybe there's something to this. So like a workout would come up that was like a lot of just barbell, like 30 clean jerks for time. Like, oh, you'll be good at this. It's just weightlifting. You'll be good at this. Nope. Like, you thought wrong. The first time I ever did Grace, 30 clean and jerks for time. First time I ever did it was with 225. And I want to say my time was like 6:01 or something. And I was missing cleans. I missed some jerks. I remember like I was on rep 30 and I missed the jerk. And I remember when I finished, I could finally get my breath back, and I was talking to the kid that like convinced me to try it. I was like, the last time I missed a 225 jerk, I was 13. Like, actually, it's the last time I missed that jerk. But do it 30 times in a row as quickly as possible, it gets hard.
I'm in it just to rewrite history, cause I'm in the mood to label us the leaders of the new school. This ain't for the radio, can't find this on YouTube. This the type of killing that these critics ain't used to. Victorious, victorious, victorious.
Last competition, I hit a 300 kilo total. I want to say like I snatched 133 kilos, clean 167 kilos. And I remember I just like finished and I walked off. My coach was all happy and a big hug, and I was just like, all right, I think I'm done. And he's kind of like, okay, like, I get it. And it was really uneventful, anticlimactic, just had enough. So I was like, all right, time to move on to the next phase of life and figure out what the hell that is. So we used to go back and forth between my camp and here, and so it's a 6-hour drive. And like we didn't have the DVD players in the car, and for most of the time my dad didn't even have a radio in the truck, and so a lot of times it was just he and I going up. Like I'd be on school break and just pack up, go up to camp, you know. We'd find a project to do, and like as soon as we got on the interstate, like, Dad, tell me a story. Like there's no radio, no movies, no TV, like it was just, Dad, tell me a story. He'd be like, oh, well, what do you want to hear? I'm like, and like I knew a list of his friends that he skated with. I'm like, tell me a story about you in port. And so he'd have a handful, and I always thought it was so cool. He's like, oh, you know, we were on tour, we were in Spain, like at the World Championships or some pro tour, and just cool stories about him with friends traveling the world and getting experiences that none of my friends' parents had those stories, and I was like, that's so cool. Like, and then to boot, like, you know, he's on tour with my mom. Like, they met at 18, they're seeing all these cool countries, and I always said, like, I just want to find my way to make those stories. And as a teenager, I thought that would be through weightlifting. That didn't pan out the way I was hoping it would. And then it started happening with CrossFit, and you know, it's just, I'm going on all these trips and touring around, being with my friends and getting to see all these places that I would never get to see otherwise. And I'm like, all right, these stories are getting made. All right, cool. They kind of corral everyone, you know, they call the heats, tell you what lane you're in, everyone gets in your little corral for 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, I usually dry heave, puke, you know, just the nerves of that waiting, that anticipation of, I think it's half knowing, like, this is about to really hurt. Like I'm about to push myself to a level that's not enjoyable. But then also like the fear. I'm always so scared going out of the competition floor, you know, thinking all these guys are more capable than me. Like, what if things don't go right? Just being really scared, you know. All these guys have trained all year to win. No one's showing up trying to win second place. Everyone's there to try to get first place. So that's pretty nerve-wracking to me.
What are we, May 2nd right now? We're like 2.5 weeks out from regionals. The East Regionals, first week to go. What weekend is that? May 19th?
How's training been?
Well, training's good. Not hitting any crazy numbers, no PRs, anything like that, but just, staying healthy, feeling good. Kind of games training's in full swing. I'm on that regular routine that I always chase after. I like routine. I like staying home. I like being in my house, having my facilities, all that stuff, all stuff I'm used to. I like that. This week, it's a deload week, so just really incredibly low volume. Try to bump up the intensity, but I'm training maybe 20 minutes worth of work a day. So I'm putting a lot more time in the warm up. Taking care of my body, fixing up all the little aches and pains, but really trying to go hard in the actual work itself.
I don't want that fear to go away. I hate it. It's a very unenjoyable feeling, but at the same time, it's like when I'm scared that I'm not capable in a workout, I really focus. I know, all right, there is no room for error. There is no room for slacking off anything. So anytime I have that fear, I'm willing to go to a darker place to make up for that being uncomfortable or not feeling confident in that movement. Perfect example, regionals Nate. That was the 2016 season. That workout, I was petrified of that workout. When I did it in training, I got 8 rounds plus something out of a 10-round workout. I wasn't even close to finishing it. And you see all the videos of guys online, pumping out sets of 10 strict muscle ups with a weight vest, and it's like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. This workout could derail me. So I'm going into that workout just absolutely petrified. And then I ended up doing well. I ended up, I think I won the workout in my region. It was I didn't let my mind wander for a second. I didn't care how much anything hurt during that workout. I was like, no, it doesn't matter. You can't afford to slack off even for a second. So it's just keep pounding. And then there was other workouts where I was so comfortable and so lax going into it. As soon as something started to hurt a little bit, I was like, oh, I'll just back off a little bit, let this pain go away. And then I pull a 10th place in the workout, and it's like, what the hell? That wasn't supposed to happen. So it's part of it is I don't want to get rid of that fear. It really pushes me to strive for excellence. And then on the other end of things, when I am feeling comfortable, not letting that affect my performance, not letting that comfort creep in and make me slack off. I'm getting all anxious right now. Rest days, few and far between. So when they do come around, you know, I really try to cash in on them. You know, I get up at the same time, try to go to bed at the same time. You know, I don't want to get off my training schedule, but you know, I really try to take advantage of it, you know, and just really relax. You know, it's more of a mental break than a physical break, I think. You know, it's just kind of, I get to just lounge around all day. I love that feeling of going hard all week and just being so tired that I'm okay with not getting out of the lazy boy. So, you know, like the day before rest day, you know, I usually add in a couple extra things that I wouldn't normally, just to kind of make sure to bury myself so I'm okay being completely unproductive the next day. But yeah, so I mean, it's up at the same time, same breakfast. I usually eat the same on a rest day. And it usually just revolves around watching movies and stretching all day. You know, I'll have some rest days where I stretch like 3 or 4 hours, and some where it's like 8 or 9 hours. Like I literally won't leave my living room floor, just stretching and rolling out all day, just so I'm good to go for the whole next week. Pretty much all my days revolve around coffee, motorcycles, guns, and CrossFit. You know, if the weather's good, I usually take my motorcycle out for a big long ride. You know, we got some beautiful, beautiful roads around here going up through the mountains. So I get lots of time in on the motorcycle. You know, there's really good shooting range not too far from here, so it's, you know, pack up a lunch and go have a day at the range, you know, out enjoying the sun and working on target practice. If it's a day of, or just like an afternoon, knowing that like I'm not leaving the living room, it's pretty much guaranteed it's going to end up on The Office. You know, I've watched the show 100 times. It's the type of show you can watch without watching it. You know, you just hear the audio going, so you're not really concerned about watching it and missing something. It's just that familiar show. I don't need to think about it. It's cheap laughs. And I mean, I've seen every episode 20 times, so it's kind of that mindless show to watch. You know, I like crime movies. I like a lot of those. You know, stuff like The Town, Boys in the Hood, stuff like that. It's pretty rare that I'll like gamble on watching a new show. I mean, I'm home so little, and like I have so little time to like actually just like, okay, I have an hour to sit down and just turn off my mind and relax. It's pretty rare that I'll like gamble on watching a new series. I'm like, I'm going to what I know will make me laugh. So yeah, it usually ends up on The Office. The last year, I don't think there has been more attention on me. I think last year was probably a better story for people to talk about of, oh, he's come second twice. Is this year that he's going to change that? That's a much better story than like, oh, he's been here 3 times, he won it once, Like, people will make a story out of whatever they want, but, there hasn't been too much more added attention this year. So, it's just kind of the same as any other years. I've stopped traveling quite as much during competition season. So it's anytime someone wants to film, I'm like, all right, well, this is my schedule. I'm staying home, I want to keep in my routine so that I can, tap the potential out of every single day. I don't want to be taken out of my environment, have to change my sleeping schedule for 3 days at a time or change my diet for a couple days. I want to just stay where I know I'm comfortable, where I know I can have my training routine.
That was good. Usually a workout like that doesn't end on the run. It just makes it hard when it does, because you can always go faster.
When you're coming out of your 3rd day of training and nothing's going right and like everything's feeling bad and then usually on top of it, that's when it seems like everything is going perfectly for everyone else. So it's like you just sit there, you're like, oh man, like what's happening right now? Like this is my job, this is my full-time job, and I'm not doing well at it. Like this isn't good. But it's those moments that you have to, I don't want to say like trust the process, but like stay on your grind. It's like, all right, well, things aren't going well, make them go well. Like why are they not going well? Is it I'm not getting enough sleep? Is my diet a little bit off? Am I traveling too much? Like you're in control of those things. Make the changes. And when I'm going on like week 4 of I'm just staying home, the only person I'm seeing throughout the day is my girlfriend. It's not like I have friends dropping in from out of town to train. It's not like camera crews are around all the time. 99% of the time, I'm in this room alone. No one there to, slap me on the ass and tell me good job, and like nice PR. It's me telling myself, get the fuck back on that treadmill, get back on that rower, start squatting again. Anytime I'm sitting in between training sessions, like just messing around on my phone, it's me telling myself like, put down your phone and get back to training. Like you could be doing something productive right now. Like why are you just sitting here looking at Instagram. Like, put your phone down, go stretch, be productive. You know, better yourself instead of resting on your laurels. Yeah, I mean that's the stuff that. I mean, no one wants to see that. It's not exciting. It's not exciting to like walk into the gym and see me sitting on the platform stretching for the 3rd hour straight. Like, who cares? But I mean, that's what goes into it behind the scenes. You know, I think before it happened, I never really thought too much of what it would be like or what it should be like, anything like that. And all the changes kind of happened in little progressions. You know, it wasn't just like an all of a sudden like light switch type change of like, this is your life now. And you know, I have to remind myself a lot of times too of like, you know, people see the highlight reel. It's very rare that someone will post or like show the world the non-glamorous stuff, like the stuff that isn't sexy. The only posts that go up are the videos of PRs going up and the videos of when things are going well and when things are looking good. It's no one posts up the video of like, oh man, you know, I have all these tears on my hands and I'm missing 245 snatches over here, and like no one wants to see that shit. You know, I get a lot of messages, you know, like people see the footage of the games, you know, see the footage of the 2016 games and think like, oh, that's so cool. I'm like, you're looking at a 5-day window of my entire year. Like, that is just like a flash in the pan.
Is this good content?
It's really good.
We're not doing too much today. Just one quick workout. No barbells or anything like that. Just kind of put the pedal down, high intensity, low impact stuff. And then I'll squat tonight, but that's basically it. You know, not too much going on. Easy day. Body feels good, you know. Kind of take these days of like, you know, the total workout time is like I can be in and out of the gym in an hour. So, you know, try to take a lot of that extra time that I don't usually have during the day, you know, just do body work, you know, stretch, roll out, I don't know, kind of fix any of the aches and pains that have kind of accumulated over the last couple weeks. Make sure that next week, going into training, you know, I'm feeling healthy, 100%, no aches and pains, just feeling good.
When I'm done with CrossFit, you know, I'm not going to try to stretch out my career longer than I should. You know, I don't want to stay in the game longer than I should. You know, I want to keep my health. I want to leave the sport still loving it. You know, like I did Olympic weightlifting for 10 years, and when I left the sport, I hated it. And you know, it kind of sucks because, you know what, I had a lot of great friends that I met over the years. You know, like I grew up with them. You know, started competing when I was 12 years old and had the same guys at every competition, and like we would train together, we'd get together in the off season. And I remember for a long time after I finished weightlifting, and it was really bad on my part that because of my resentment against weightlifting, I didn't want to hear from them. I didn't want to see them because it just brought up my bad blood. Whether that was jealousy, envy, and just kind of disappointed in the way things worked out for me. So, you know, I've kind of reached back out and kind of rekindled a lot of those friendships, but, you know, at the time it just wasn't happy for me. So, you know, the day that I decided to stop competing in CrossFit, you know, I want to make sure that I'm still happy. You know, I don't want to leave any bad blood, you know. So I've never followed too strict of a diet. In 2014, you know, I was a full-time college student, so, you know, it was eating Chinese food off a food truck that was parked behind the library, literally 5 days a week. And then if I was there late, I'd grab pizza off the pizza truck by the library. I remember 2014, in a 3-month span, I did one competition and I weighed 169 pounds. And then 3 months later, I did another competition. I weighed 203. So, I mean, my weight was just like a roller coaster. The 2015 season, really did not pay attention to diet. You know, I almost intentionally ate bad because I thought, you know, I work out so much I can eat whatever I want. I thought I could out-train a bad diet. And, you know, you kind of see yourself every day, so you're not seeing like this drastic gain in weight or like change in body composition. And it wasn't until like I watched footage of myself from the 2015 games that I was like, oh my God, like I was so round, like I was so heavy. Like, and, you know, it's just a product of being a glutton, and, you know, just like if I saw something that looked good, it wasn't like I would walk by a bakery and see a Danish and be like, oh, I'll have like a Danish. I would be like, go in and get like 6 of them and just eat them all. So, you know, it was after I watched footage from the 2015 season that I was like, oh man, you know, I can't out-train a bad diet. So I wasn't like counting macros or following a strict diet, but, you know, just trying to cut out the junk, eat, you know, natural foods, you know, just a lot of fruit and vegetables and meat. And, you know, kind of the rule, like if it comes out of a package, you know, probably shouldn't eat it type thing. So trying to cut out all processed foods. My body composition changed quite a bit. You know, I dropped 10 pounds pretty quickly. So, you know, instead of floating, you know, just over 200 and having the problems of any gymnastics movements, you know, when I was over 200 pounds, my hands are just tearing. You know, just that little bit of extra weight would just cause calluses to rip. So, you know, now I float closer to 190. You know, not trying to have those like giant fluctuations either of, I used to wake up and like I barely have breakfast and then skip lunch and then have just like a huge dinner. But then I remember some days I would get into the gym and like I'd be doing heavy lifts and like, you know, get lightheaded and be like, oh, I have to go eat before I train anymore. And so then I have to put my training on pause for 2 hours so I can go eat, let the food settle, and then have the energy again to go train. So now it's like I make sure I eat throughout the day. You know, I have meals planned. You know, I have a sponsor that sends me pre-made meals. So Paleo Natural sends me food that is like, there's no preparation. You know, it's take it out of the freezer, throw it in the microwave, and it's made. You know, it's not going out of my way. It's not a hassle in my day. But yes, you know, just trying to stay even keeled with my energy levels throughout the day, not binging out at 10 o'clock at night right before bed type thing. You know, simple stuff that I should have been doing from day one. Just some leftover chicken from the other night with some spicy orange sauce that Sammy made, white rice. It's delicious. It's just to tide me over until we get to dinner. No, nothing too crazy. I have breakfast 8:30 every morning, and then I usually don't eat. Like I might have a meal mid-afternoon if I'm training at home, but if I'm not home, I'll eat again like 4 or 5 p.m. and then like all my calories in the day are between 5 and 10 p.m. All of them.
What makes up most of your diet?
Rice. Yeah, between Paleo Natural meals and mini wheats. Yeah. Mini wheats, bite size only. Sammy brought home the Hannaford brand. Get out!
I was so nervous. It was really a lose-lose at that point. Because it was like, okay, get the regular brand, but the big size, and get criticized. Or do the bite size, because what's your reasoning for the bite size, though?
You fit more in the mouth.
Yes, and the proportion, and like...
And the frosting ratio's all jacked up.
Yeah, the frosting ratio. So it was like, okay, I'll get the Hannaford brand, but the bite size, because then at least the frosting ratio should still be up to par. It was not. They seriously taste like cardboard.
You know, every morning it's roughly the same breakfast, you know, bacon, eggs, oatmeal, that kind of generic breakfast. And I eat that like as soon as I get up, you know. Like awake, pour coffee. As I'm drinking the coffee, breakfast's getting made. I try to let food settle. I don't like to train on empty stomach, so you know, usually an hour or two after that, I'll get into the gym. On the way to the gym, I always have the same shake, you know, creatine, glutamine, beta-alanine, and aminos, kind of just all thrown in one. That's my pre-workout shake. Usually when I get home after training, it's like a blender bottle of just milk, spinach, and whey protein. You know, very, very simple. And then I usually won't take another pre-workout shake before my second day of training or my second training in the day, just because I'm fairly sensitive to like stimulants. So I cut out all stimulants after like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And then right before bed, you know, brush the teeth, and I take the wad pack of, you know, the fish oil, vitamin D, all that stuff. Just a pack, just have them right near my toothbrush, so I remember to take them every night. But it's, yeah, same thing, day in, day out. Nothing special, nothing sexy. It's just the stuff that I find has the most bang for the buck. You know, I've had a couple seasons of, you know, going into competition where I'm seeing physical therapists, massage therapists, like 2-3 times a week going into the competition, just because, you know, things are flaring up a couple weeks before the competition, and so it's like my ass is on fire, so I get all the treatment I can while I can to try to, you know, pull things together for the competition. You know, I'd wait until things were injured to try to fix them, whereas now intentionally put in a lot more time and effort before things are hurt, you know, to kind of maintain things, you know. As soon as I feel like a little pinch in my shoulder or something, go and get that little pinch worked out, even though it's not going to stop me from doing anything, but I want to deal with it before it becomes like a big pinch or like the type of thing that's like stopping any mobility, you know. So a lot of time gets put into recovery and just maintenance work. I try to do as much body work myself as I can. So, you know, like just days off of stretching, you know, stretching, rolling out at night. And then when things are a little bit worse, then that can be dealt with by stretching. I have a scraping tool that my girlfriend will like get into a tough area, like on my lats or my back, and like she's digging in there, she's putting in work, you know. And then if it's any worse than that, and I think about it ahead of time, you know, booking PT appointments. A girl in my gym does dry needling, and it's like, oh, dry needling is so good. It's the creepiest thing. I've had hundreds of needles from her. Never once have I watched the needle. I've never seen the needle. I've never seen it go in. Nothing. I can't watch it. I'm in a full sweat the entire time I'm doing it. But is like bang for the buck results. That is where it's at. It's that constant reminder of whether I go all out and finish this in a minute 50 or slack off, get rid of this pain in my chest and go at 210. In 10 minutes, whichever route I take, I'm going to feel fine. In 10 minutes, I will be up, walking, talking, I'll have a drink of water, and I'm going to feel fine in 10 minutes, regardless of which route I take. But which one is going to make me feel better about the effort that I put forth that day? You know, if I slack off at 20 seconds of my total time, I'm gonna leave the gym that day thinking like, man, I didn't really give everything I had today. Like, next time. Or I can push myself to the limit where, like, as soon as I see that finish on the screen and just like collapse. 10 minutes later, when I'm having my drink of water, I'm gonna think, man, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of that effort I put in today. I did everything I could today to push myself to that final goal. If you just win, like, who gives a shit? You know, like, it's not the win that feels good. It's all the work that you put in prior to, like, if you didn't do any work and just won some random competition by a fluke, are you gonna be like marching down with a medal around your neck, like so proud of that you won? Probably not. But like, the fact that 51 weeks out of the year, like, I trained my ass off. Waking up to going to bed was all about that, you know, going into the gym, like hands literally dripping blood, and be like, nope, like I gotta do some muscle ups today, you know. Like it was about halfway through the 2015 or 2016 season, I had to go in and get MRIs done on my hips because I thought I had bone spurs in my hips because I was doing so much work. And it's coming back from stuff like that. Like, I had to go and get x-rays on both my hands. I thought I had boxer fractures on both my hands from flipping that pig so many times. That's why that medal felt good. Like if I had won in 2014, I probably wouldn't give a shit about this. Like, because I wouldn't have had to work for it. I don't think it's the win that feels good. I think it's
hard work paying off that feels better.
Do you think you're still working as hard now as you did last year?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was really happy with how regionals went. You know, it's kind of hard to gauge, you know. Wasn't like any other competition any of us had gone into before. You know, they completely eliminated barbells. There was 2 workouts with the 21-15-9 domain. So there's a lot of like sprinty type workouts, but then taking away that max load. You know, there's still some weight. There's a 150-pound sandbag, you know, lots of 80-pound dumbbells. So there's still grunt work to be done. But what so many people focus so much time on is like that 1 rep Olympic lifts. That wasn't a factor this year. So, you know, no one really knew how things are going to pan out, you know, how certain athletes are going to handle it. It kind of all came out in the wash at the end, you know. Everyone that people expected to be at the top kind of finished at the top and put up the high scores. And I was very happy with how regionals went on my part, you know. There's a lot of, like, Northeast region, you know, it's stacked, you know. A lot of guys that you're going to see at the top level of the games, and a lot of guys that when they didn't make it to the games, I'm shocked because, you know, I've trained with them in the off season and I know what they're capable of if they made it to the games. In the moment, it's kind of pain in the ass having like the top guys in your region, because now you need to take multiple competitions seriously. It's not like I can just kind of walk through regionals and then focus on the games. You know, I gotta produce at regionals as well. But then on the other hand, in the big picture, it's great going against those guys months ahead of time. You know, see what they're working with, see how I chalk up, see what my deficiencies are compared to these incredible athletes. So went well. Picked up some stuff that, okay, like the work I was doing in the off season on that paid off, and then other stuff that, okay, like this movement or this time domain or this stimulus, you know, I got to work on it. What are we, I think, like 50 days out from the games? Like give or take a couple days. 46 days out from the games. So, you know, it's like fully recovered from regionals for the last couple weeks. So, you know, really back into the regular swing of things, you know, back into the routine that I was in before regionals. You know, back doing the track workouts, the swim workouts, the barbells, all that stuff. I feel very good. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that's happening that I'm like doing backflips over, but nothing bad, you know. So that's where I want to be, you know. It's usually when one element of training is going so spectacularly well, there's usually something that's at a deficit that's suffering because of that. But, you know, just nice and even across the board. So, I just haven't been hitting the higher percentages as often as I would like to be comfortable with those movements. And so I just said, all right, like I want to just do a test run, progress report, see where I'm at. So I had a number in mind, I figured like 345, 350. If I could hit that with how my training's been going, with doing the really tough swim workout this morning, like I'd be satisfied with the 350. Knowing that with all those other elements that are being taken into factor, that yes, I could do more. I'd be up at the numbers I want to if I was in the ideal situation. And with a 350, I can still work off the numbers I've been working off and produce the results I want to come August. So it's not like the clean jerks were going exceptionally well. 315, 335, kind of routine numbers. 355, I was very happy with how 355 went. It was an awful lift, but it was the fact that, I caught the bar out of position, and usually that's just a dump the lift right away type thing. But came up, was able to get readjusted, get my breath, and still complete 355. And so I was really happy with how that went, considering the circumstances of, it was out of position. It wasn't the pretty technical lift, but it just let me know, like, okay, if you catch a bar out of place, it's not just dump it and try again later. I don't have to waste that attempt. So made the 355 and just was, I don't want to say just like fuck it, but it's like kind of what's the point of doing 365? It's been done before, I don't want to say it's a routine lift for me, but I mean I've hit it a handful of times. So I just threw on an extra 10, made it 375. Kind of a pretty number, and I mean it went better than I could have imagined. It was like, for me, it was the picture perfect lift. Everything was right in place. There was no sticking point out of the clean. It was just like clean, breath, jerk, done. There was no struggling, no walking around. So I was pretty happy with that. But I think I'm more happy with the 355, just with the confidence that came behind it of, you can fight for something. For some reason, we thought it'd be a good idea to go to the track at 1 p.m, 90 degrees outside, 60% humidity, and with no water. Like, what can go wrong, right? So, we're going to the track, and I'm asking him, like, all right, like, what's the plan? And he tells me the workout, and it's 200-meter interval on a time split. Finish the 200, jog back 100 meters, and then 200 again. Jog back 100, 200 again, jog back 100. And do that until you've completed 4 laps around. So it's 16 intervals, 3,200 meters at pace, and then 16 100s of trying to recover while still jogging. And he told me the time splits that I was going to be, that was the goal to keep. And I was telling him, like, are you sure? Like, is there a break built in, like after every 4, after every lap, something? Like, he goes, nope, I think you can do it. I don't think so. And he goes, yeah, you can. Okay. And so all I'm thinking to myself is like, okay, I'll try. I'll give it my best effort. And the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to pass out on the track, and hopefully someone comes over and sprinkles water on me, and I'll be fine. So it's like, it's just the acceptance of, like, okay, worst case scenario, this is going to absolutely hurt like hell for 30 minutes. If I pass out, it'll end earlier. But I'm not gonna die. And even if I fail and don't hit my splits, good. You know. Then for the next 50 days, I know what I have to work on.
Got it. The workout was what, 5,400? Plus you had 1,200 and warm up. 1,400. Shoot. Yeah. 7,000. 7,000.
I'm just overheating.
Do you feel your heat keep rising?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's not good because I'm not thirsty.
Yeah.
The track time and the pool time definitely get more attention when he's in town because it's an area of training that I'm not familiar with, you know? When other stuff in the gym comes up that I'm like, all right, you know, I need to work on my snatch. I know how to train that. I know how to hit the milestones on that. But when something comes up like, all right, your swim isn't up to par, well, I don't know how to get better at that. You know, I can do the bulk of it, but like the fine tuning, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I seek out the advice of an expert and just do what he says, you know? So, you know, he came up and he was like, all right, this is what we're doing. Like there's a couple different time trials in there and let's get after it. And so, you know, it's like pool time is pretty limited as it is. But then pool time with the expert in the lane next to you, kind of yelling out split times and yelling out critiquing technique. I really try to take full advantage of that, you know. Who cares how much this hurts? Who cares how uncomfortable I am? He's in the pool with me for 1 hour. And like those hours I can count on one hand throughout the year. So it's like I'm taking every ounce of potential I can out of this session.
Time, we're swimming an extra 1,000.
So we'll at that point be 2,000 into our workout. It's a little bit of a challenge.
I'm gonna do the swim, make it in time, but not touch the wall till after, just so I can do the extra 1,000.
Oh, you're gonna go like this? You keep it running.
Henshaw's humbled me a couple times, you know, like I'm like suffering through some like intervals and I'm literally just pushing. I'm no longer thinking about like, okay, I need to hit this interval in this time split. It's literally just go as hard as you can and hope that you get in under the time split. And as I'm doing that, he's running next to me backwards, just like yelling like technique stuff. I'm like, damn, he's running backwards? This is embarrassing. No, I mean, I like it, you know, I'm not, I'm not holding myself to the standards of trying to be the best runner in CrossFit. You know, I want to train with the best runner. Granted, that's very unrealistic that I'm like trying to compare myself to someone who's running a 4-minute mile, but that's what I'm striving for. The games, not too much will change. You know, my training will stay pretty similar to what it's been. At this point, you know, traveling is off the table. As we get closer and closer, you know, even visitors, like camera crews or friends coming in from out of town, that'll kind of dwindle. But I think the only other thing is, you know, I kind of become more and more removed from just everyday things. You know, it's like the sights just kind of narrow in on that weekend, and luckily I'm surrounded with people that completely understand it and completely support it. So, you know, stuff. I remember last year, best friend was having a bachelor party, and it was nothing crazy. It was just a weekend in a beach house. And last year it was too close to the games, and I just said, I'm sorry, can't make it. And he completely understood. And you know, it's a scenario that it's like, that's only going to happen once in his life, and I can't be there. And so it's the same with everything, you know, staying home more and more, interacting with people less and less, and really refining in the things that I have control over.
What's really unique about Matt is the fact that he was an Olympic level weightlifter, and he is not rested. He got crushed this morning, he got crushed yesterday, and then he comes in and he hits a lifetime best in a clean and jerk. That is legit. I mean, the fact that you don't train one sport, and by doing other things, you hit the best in your life. That is really showing something different in this sport. He is really, truly like pushing the frontier, and I think that's what's so exciting about him, right? Here's a guy that's supposed to be tired. He's supposed to be fatigued, and then he comes in and hits a lifetime best. What the heck does his fatigue even mean then, right? Oh, I'm tired. I can now PR.
It's making jumps like that have made people the champions, and it's jumps like that have taken people out of their careers. Like you don't get one without the other, like without taking those risks, you know? It's that same mentality that blew out my knee when I was 16. That's the same mentality that broke my back when I was 19. But that's the same mentality that made me win in 2016. So, I don't know. If I want it, go for it. Fuck it, why not?
Right, is that some people they're not experimenting in their workouts, right? They're trying to like hit the max, and what's my way of hitting the max lift? And what you're trying to do is learn, and if you fail, you fail. I think that's the difference between a workout athlete and a competitor, right? You're working out to find more information on you.
Woke up next to a half decent looking chick. They got cold beer, fresh layer of snow on the ET. Just gonna send it. just feet hit the ground, feet hit the top of the plate, and like then plate. It wasn't like a high jump, so it's like 100 has to be under 60 seconds.
That drill is cool because anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Right? And measure up against you. But the thing is like you did it in an incredibly fatigued state, right? I figure at the end of the day, he's trained 6 hours. I figure he's good and tired, and clearly my rested is more tired than his tired is tired.
But I remember when I finished weightlifting, when I kind of walked away from it, and you know, I wasn't really proud of the effort I put in. You know, I wasn't proud of the results, anything. And one of my really good friends that I grew up weightlifting with, who became very successful in the sport, we were having a conversation, and he's like, man, like, why are you just packing it in, you know? He was like, you were good. And I specifically remember telling him I did not get in the sport to be good. I got in the sport to be great. And it didn't pan out in weightlifting, so I just kind of looked for my next venture. So now with CrossFit, going into every workout, I'm telling myself, like, I'm not here to be good. I'm here to be great. I love it. I love it when people discount me because of, you know, my build or my sports background or anything like that. Like, anytime someone says something like that, I think, good. You think you can't touch me because of the way I'm built. And so in your mind, all that's saying is I can never be as good as him because I'm too tall. I can never be as good as him because I didn't have 10 years of Olympic weightlifting background. And in my mind, I know that's not the case, but I think, good. You've already told yourself I'm going to win. So it's the same thing when everyone comes out with like the whole steroid argument. People say, oh, he's only that good because of steroids. Good. Because you just told yourself, without you taking steroids, you can't compete with me. Go ahead. Keep that mentality. See where it gets you in life. People see an ounce of adversity and they shy away. Bergeron actually sent me a thing the other day, and it was like, cowards and champions have the same fears, but the difference is how they attack them. And so, like I was saying with the track workout, you know, if I didn't think I'd be able to complete that workout, I was genuinely scared that something was going to go wrong, that I was going to fail. But then at the same time, it's like, well, if I fail, good. I have something new to work on. I have something new to get better at. So, you know, it's like that with anything I do. It's like, worst case scenario, this goes awful. And then for the next 2 months, I have something to aim my sights on. So, you know, it's the same as after the 2015 games, you know, that pig flip could not have gone worse. Yeah, of course, in the moment, yeah, I wish I figured out that deficiency not on the competition floor in front of how many people, but after the fact, good. I have something to work on. So, I mean, I think it's that keeping that 2015 season fresh, you know, remembering my mindset during that season, remembering the things I was doing that I shouldn't have been, remembering the corners I cut, but then at the same time remembering what happened in the 2016 season. And not just the good stuff. Keeping the whole season fresh in my mind of like, you know, how did I deal with injuries? How did I deal with being tired? How did I deal with this, that, everything, you know? Keeping that stuff fresh in my mind, watching footage, reminding myself, you know, when I'm having a bad day of training and I don't feel like training, I don't feel like going hard, going back and watching some video, 2016 season, and reminding myself how good that felt. Reminding myself like, all this hard work right now will pay off. Like it's worth it in the end. You know, I talk to Sammy about this all the time, you know? Like, I'm not trying to lie to myself and say like this is gonna go on forever, you know? There's a timestamp on it, you know? When that's gonna be, I hope it's far down the road. I'm gonna try to make it far down the road. But, you know I don't want to be a coach. I know I don't want to own a CrossFit gym. I'm in CrossFit because I like to compete in CrossFit. But you know, I kind of look at it as the same as when I left weightlifting. You know, when I left weightlifting, I was lost, you know? I was not a happy person, you know, just, I didn't have a thing, you know, I didn't have something to concentrate my energy on, I didn't have something to focus my work ethic on, I didn't have something to work hard at. So when I found CrossFit, it was kind of like, oh, awesome, I have something I can apply myself to, I have something I can work hard at.
Huh?
I was asking if you had all this stuff.
Woke up this morning at quarter.
I'm gonna start with 3, just because I've always taken more here.
Looking down on me.
There's a hole in the wall.
It's coming right through what I saw. To let my old lady down. It's time I can dream.
No, I just worked out, so the hair is all kind of sticky from the sweat and shock.
Gotcha. Look up.
Yeah, we're heading into next town over for Winooski. I just got an email of a duplex up for sale, so we're just driving by to take a look at it. If it looks like anything decent, I'll call the real estate agent and kind of get a showing for it. But it's kind of fits the mold of what I've been looking for, you know, a couple units, you know, regular residential place, but just a good opportunity for an investment property. I mean, Sammy's gonna be the one running the place, not me.
That's the bed and breakfast we open someday.
Sam's gonna be a trap queen.
I just want to bake fresh goods for people in the morning. That's it.
You know, nothing special. I mean, it's very outdoorsy. I mean, Vermont's a lot of outdoor activities, you know, skiing in the winter, hiking in the summer, that type of stuff. I don't know, very, very typical childhood of, you know, lived in like the typical neighborhood, you know, there's all the groups of kids, you know, everyone's within 4 or 5 years of each other. There's like 15, 20 of us all together, and you could tell where everyone was because of where whose front lawn all the bikes were laid down on.
195.
We're looking for 295.
That siding looks new.
Yeah, siding looks good, windows look good. Yeah, there's 2 separate units for utilities. Super easy to redo yourself.
Yeah. Looks like there's like a
Hobbit.
sunroom, like covered porch.
Yeah,
top.
the upstairs duplex's entrance is into a finished porch.
Oh, that's great.
All right, I'll call the real estate agent.
Yeah.
You just gotta get in there, you know.
Just shove it in, man.
Don't be scared.
You think of that berry mix, huh?
What's up?
What do you think of that mix? Oh, you haven't used it yet. Never mind.
Pay attention, Sammy. Oh, I never think this through.
It's too full.
Boom.
Just leave it. I need that.
Okay.
Whoa.
What does that say?
Ooh, it's meshy. Ooh, so it doesn't block off your vision. I see.
Wow, peripheral. That's really nice.
To be happy, you know, that's
Digging that.
that's the number one goal. Is just happiness. You know, who cares what else is going on in life? Like, if you're unhappy, then what's the point of it? You know. So happiness is definitely number one. What's going to produce that happiness? You know, the big things. You know, I think the biggest one is just family. You know, I know I want to just have a whole litter of kids. So you know, hopefully, you know, find some acreage, find a house, Sammy and kids, whatever goes along with that. You know, I don't know yet. You know, it's kind of the excitement. You know, you don't know what's next. So I look forward to finding that out in due time. I look at my medal from 2015 and I hate that fucking medal. It's because I didn't do it right, you know? It's like second place. I got second place in 2015. I should be proud of that result. I was the second fittest man in the world. But I just look at that and I'm just like, you know, I fucking hate that year. Because I'm not proud of the effort I put in. I'm not proud of the corners I cut, you know? I really, like, 2014, I had the same results. 2014, 2015, I had the exact same results, completely different feeling about both seasons. 2014, I was so excited, I felt like I had won second place. 2015, exact same results, I felt like I had lost and gotten second place. Oh, it's just about the effort you put in, the expectations you set for yourself. And so 2016, you know, quit cutting corners, started doing it right, and the results showed for it. And so as long as I'm training, I'm going to keep trying to do it that way, and we'll see what the results reflect. Yeah, everyone's your best friend when you're doing well. But who's there, like, building me back up when things aren't good? Who's there building me back up when something goes catastrophically wrong? You know? And the people I have in my life are those people. And that's why they're in my life, you know? They've come through in a moment that I needed them. And even simple stuff, you know? I'll be here at home training, and doors closed to the apartment, And like when the music gets turned off, Sammy knows, all right, music's turned off, that's training's done. And I'll literally walk into the living room and just lay on the floor, just sprawled out. I'm so tired, and I'll just like fall asleep right on the living room floor. And I don't have to say anything, I don't have to do anything, and she knows like I don't want to eat, I don't want to do that, but she'll come up, like kind of shake me, like, here's dinner. And like she's there to support me, she's there to help me do the things that, you know, I probably won't do on my own, of eating right after training. She'll remind me like, hey, you're gonna book a PT appointment, you're gonna go get a massage, like you need to do that. And so it's that stuff, that day in, day out, the little things, you know? When I'm on the floor competing, that's for me. And like, I know it sounds selfish, and hell, it probably is a little selfish, but I'm out there competing for me. Like, I know my parents are proud of me, but they're just as proud of me for graduating engineering school on the dean's list. They're just as proud of, like, that's unconditional love, you know? They're gonna love me and support me whether I get first place or 40th place. They don't care. If I had bad results and the people around me, you know, they're very brutally honest, and they're kind of like, well, did you work hard enough, or like, did you do the things that you thought you had to do? And if I was like, yeah, I absolutely did, and just the results weren't good enough, then it would be like, okay, then hold your head up. But at the end of the day, if it was like, well, no, I mean, I was staying up late, you know, I wasn't training, you know, I was training 3 days a week and eating like crap, then they'd probably be like, well, you probably deserve the results you got, you know? But no, they support me day in, day out. They love me regardless of the results. The one line I always liked was, I'm going to do today what other people aren't willing to, so I can do tomorrow what other people can't. I always loved that line of like whenever I'm training by myself, you know, kind of always like running lines like that through my head when I'm suffering. Like people aren't willing to do this right now. You're the only one in here. You know? And then when I get to a competition and I'm able to outperform someone on something, like, okay, I did yesterday what you didn't, so that I can do today what you can't. Just knowing that, trusting, like, the hard work I'm putting in right now, it'll pay off. Maybe not today, you might feel like shit tomorrow, but it'll pay off in the end.